This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Hallo und guten Morgen, guten Tag und guten Abend an alle unsere Zuschauer von mir aus dem Süden von Deutschland. Ich freue mich, heute euer Host zu sein. Hello and good morning, good afternoon and good evening to everyone all the way from the south of Germany. And I'm happy to be and excited to be part of tonight's broadcast. Quick time check, it is now 8 p.m. here in Germany and currently 2 a.m. in the Philippines. So good morning to all our early birds who are tuning in right now. And tonight we will dive into a heartfelt conversation about connecting across generations. And for that, we have invited a lovely sister from Frankfurt. Hi, Ate.
Hi, everyone. Hi, INCRadio family, listeners, and viewers. Thank you once again for joining today. And I am also so very excited to talk about this topic. Right, Ali? How are you doing today?
I'm doing very, very well as well. It's just so hot here in Munich. How's the weather over there in Frankfurt?
Also very hot, and I'm still getting used to it out here.
Yeah, I know. It's really hard if you're coming from a very hot place and then you're going to a place that's 4 seasons, and then it's even hotter here compared to the other place. But you'll get used to it. We'll get used to it, and we'll get through the summer. But thank you so much for taking your time to join us here on INCRadio Central Europe. And of course, we want to hear the stories of our viewers and listeners as well. So share in the comments one of the valuable lessons you have learned from someone older or even younger than you. But before we continue with our topic, let's play a fun game to break the ice. And Kuya Tech, please show us what we will play tonight. Dear Younger Me. And the next slide, please, Kuya Tech. Okay, so you have to write or just say it out loud. Starting with Dear Younger Me, I want you to know, or I want you to whatever you want to say. So, of course, to our dear viewers and listeners, feel free to join us as well in our game. Just type your answers in the live chat. Okay, are you ready, Chanel?
I hope so.
Okay, give it a go.
Okay, so let's see. This is the first one. Dear younger me, I want you to remember. That's the one, correct? Okay, there it is. Okay, so dear younger me, I want you to remember to keep holding on and always pray because everything you want and more God will give you. How about
Oh,
you,
that is
Ali?
so sweet. Yes, something similar actually. I would say, dear younger me, I want you to remember that all your prayers are being heard. You just need to be patient.
Oh, that's a good one. I think I should have included that as well. Patience.
Patience, yes. That is something very, very important. Let's see if the live chat also has something for us. Oh, it's not loading on my side, but of course we want to thank you for to all our viewers for playing with us, but we want to hear a little bit more from you, Chanel. What else would you like your for your younger self to remember or to know? I think we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty, but that is all fine. For I will read you or greet you for all the comments. Hello po to Kate Maximo. Thank you for tuning in all the way from Milan, Italy North. Good evening as well to Brother Scott Agustin and to his wife, Sister Lisette Agustin. Hello po, thank you so much for joining. Good evening as well to Sayan Van Louvren. Hello po, Brother Mario Calvello, and everyone connecting to our INC radio tonight. And I want to read some greetings. One is from Get Luman. Good evening, beloved brothers and sisters. Let's all have fun with INC Radio po. Best regards from Brother Gerd from the local of #Berlin, #Meissen. Another comment from Irene Juliet Calvello. Happy viewing po, #Berlin. Guten Abend an alle, #Berlin. Thank you so much, Bob, for your greetings. Oh, and I have another one from Christelle Lee. Greetings, Bob. Hi, Sister Alec and Sister Chanel, our beautiful sisters of Central Europe, #Frankfurt. Hi, Bob. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's tune back in on. Let's see if Chanel can be heard.
Yes, I am back. So sorry, but I'm here now. It's probably because of the hot weather overheating everything. But yes, thank you, Ali, for reading out all the comments and shout outs. And I also want to ask you, what are some other things you want to tell your younger self?
I want to tell my younger self, I already said the patience, but to also continue working hard, just because, I mean, it also connects to the patience, because the longer you have to work for yourself, now you need to be patient to see results. So thank you so much for joining tonight on our icebreaker game. To you, Chanel, and also to our viewers. And we moving back to our topic. Of course, in today's time, we live in a world that is constantly evolving, and the wisdom of our elders and the ideas of our youth come together in a way to combine the knowledge and also inspiration. And tonight, together with our lovely guest, Ate Chanel, we will dive into stories that have been passed down, or ideas for the futures, or even lessons that we have learned along the way. Because when we listen and learn from each other, everyone grows. Okay, Chanel, what do you what does connecting across generations mean to you?
To me, connecting across generations means maintaining a stable, healthy, and even happy relationship with your family. And sometimes not your family by blood. It can also be your family or friends that are so close to you in heart, that have always been there for you since day one. So that's what it means to me. How about you, Ali? What does it mean for you?
It's something I would say there's something similar to you. Maintaining stable connections, not only with blood family, but also friends, or even relatives, or loved ones, because family is not really defined just by blood. Of course, especially for us inside the Church of Christ, the brethren in our locale or in our district, we consider them our family as well. So of course, with that, I connecting across generations means maintaining not only stable connections, but also a healthy relationship with one another. And we already mentioned, or I already mentioned earlier, that the older generation and the ideas of our youth can be combined, a new knowledge or new inspiration, or even old inspirations. Chanel, how have your generational experiences influenced your values and beliefs?
Honestly, I think it's so important to have that generational connection, whether it be with the older generation or the younger generation, because I was blessed enough to be born and raised inside of the Church of Christ. And I honestly wouldn't be the person I am if I didn't have their guidance, if I didn't have the guidance and support from my big brothers and big sisters, and even the parents of my best friends. They were basically like my second parents, which I'm truly so grateful for. And with that, how about you, Ali? How do you feel on that side?
Yes, especially like I mentioned earlier, inside the church, we are kind of a family, or we are a family, but also with different generations come different perspectives, and but one thing, it's when as members of the Church of Christ, something that always stays are the Christian values. Um, in our time, we still have the same doctrines as before, that the messenger of our Almighty God, Brother Felix Y. Manalo, has preached back then. Those are still the same doctrines that we have now. Those are still the same values that we have, that we are pursuing now, or that we are following now. So that also has influenced me in a way, because not only my parents, but also my grandparents, my uncles and titas, my also friends, or my kuyas and ates, we share the same values, but their experiences, from their time or from their age, is different from what we experience now, of course. But those values still have an effect on the experiences that I am undergoing now, or even the even advice I can is still applicable to our time. What is your take on that, Chanel?
What was the question specifically? Just so I can answer it the best way I can.
Um, how have other your generational experiences influenced your beliefs and values,
Mhm.
especially with the church doctrines and the Christian values that we have?
Mm, yeah, so like I said, I grew up in the Church of Christ, but as young as I was back then, and even for the generation now, we're always surrounded by temptations, peer pressure, different values that what we're usually taught than in the church even. So I'm just truly grateful that I had big sister, big brother figures that were there to kind of keep me in check, and also keep me stable, like mentally stable and sound of mind in times where it seemed like my values were even being questioned by my friends, like, why don't you celebrate this? Why won't you go out with us? Why don't you do those things? And there are a lot of times where I was just like, why don't I? Or it's harmless, it looks harmless, but why don't I try it? But fortunately, I was able to have my older generations as being able to access them and ask them for advice, like, um, is it okay if I do this, and why can't I do this? And just being able to have those open conversations with the older generations before me, and hearing about their experiences and why we shouldn't, on top of like our faith and our beliefs, really built a solid foundation of who I am and what is the right direction for me to go to. So that was my experience, and I'm truly so grateful for all of my role models that I grew up with in life.
And with all of those advices, or with all the connections that you have, and relationships that you have with different generations, what is one valuable lesson that you have learned from someone who's either older or even younger than you?
Oh, of course. I think one of the best advice that I've earned from a big brother figure of mine, especially when I was kind of confused on whether or not I should go to a harmless event. I think at the time it was like prom. um, and I pretty much asked them, like, should I go? Even though, I know my friends, they're good people, I can trust them. However, there's a lot of stigma around going. There's a lot of stereotypes you even see in media, like of the things kids do, especially during prom. So I asked them, like, what do you think I should do? Even though it doesn't seem as bad, and I know myself. And what he told me was basically, don't give the devil a chance. And that pretty much means don't put yourself in a situation that compromises your values and your faith. And especially as a member of the Church of Christ, it's so important that you know who you are and you know where your faith is. So hearing a role model say that to me, already solidified my answer. I was like, all right, okay, let's not. Because it's right. Like, no matter how you are, no matter how strong you think you are, you shouldn't ever put yourself in a situation where it compromises your values or your faith. So that I still hold on to this very day. I think it can be applicable not just for the younger generation, but for the older generation as well.
Yes, I very much agree on that, Chanel. And I do have a comment that also connects to that in a way. And it's from Brother Scott Augustine, or from Sister Lisette Augustine. One valuable lesson from someone older: embrace the differences we have. Don't expect the person to be like you. Makes us more patient and emphasizes with people around us. And also, it's important for us to be open and the constant eagerness to learn from each other in any age. Every individual is or has something amazing to share. And on that note, you also mentioned that you have, that you got advice from an older brother, or someone who plays an older brother role for you. Um, on that note, it's also important for us, when we are asking for advice, to not just listen to the advice, but to also learn from the advice and take that advice to implement it in our lives. Because as you mentioned earlier, don't give the devil a chance. And with everyone, or even our parents, our friends, when they are giving us advice, it's not coming from a place of, or it's not coming from a bad place. I'm pretty sure everyone in our circle of friends and our family, or even our parents, mostly our parents, they do not want to harm us. It's because they love us so much. Do you agree with me on that, Chanel?
100%. And you're pretty much said everything perfectly. And, for a lot of us younger ones, no matter what age we are still children to our parents. And all the advice we hear from our parents, as painful as it is to hear sometimes, it does come from a place of love and a place of experience. And that's one we should really not take for granted. We should really value the advice our parents gives us, especially if it's, aligned with what we're taught in the Church of Christ.
Yes, and one thing that I want to add, it's actually a comment from Lynn Schmidt. I've learned that respect is not just given to those older or in power. It should be shown to everyone, even in small ways. Hashtag Berlin, hashtag Meissen. That is also one very, very important thing that we also have to remember when it comes to having stable connections, or keeping healthy relationships with the younger or even the older generation, is just respect one another. Now, how do you think, Chanel, different do you think different generations can better understand and support each other, especially in our time now that we have all this modern technology? It is easier for us to bridge the gap between those, or between different generations.
I love what the last comment said about respect. That it should be given to everyone, and that's also one of the values that we learn as members of the Church of Christ. And so, the one advice I can give when it comes to the older generation connecting to the younger ones is listen to them. And don't be so quick to undermine their thoughts and their ideas just because they're young. And that's also a biblical teaching that we're taught. Like, don't be so quick to undermine the youth because of their age. You know, they are also people with valuable insight to listen to as well. And another way that, you know, the older generation can get a perspective or a better understanding of the younger one is take advantage of the INC Media website. We have so many podcasts that has many different perspectives on the struggles of the youth, the struggles of parents, the struggles of many different generations from all walks of life. Like, for example, they have Faith and Family, Heart and Soul, Making Changes. Just by listening to the podcast and listening to what the struggles of, you know, the individuals have gone through and how God has shown in their lives really can give you the perspective you need in order to, you know, help take care of the people around you as well. And having multiple perspectives and open understanding to their situation, like what Lisette said in her comment, being open, understanding of the differences that we have, it's already a huge help in connecting to the younger ones, because that's what they truly need, someone that will listen to them and that will respect them.
Yes. On that note, also, since you've mentioned the other or podcasts from our from the church, or even those segments on other INCRadio segments, with those kind of segments, it also is a way of giving younger people, or even older older generation, not only the perspective, or a different perspective, but also life advice that they didn't know they needed, because they might be going through the same things or similar things. And just hearing other people also talk about the same or a similar situation can be helpful to everyone. So thank you for mentioning that. It's a very good thing. Thank you so much. What is one thing that you admire most about generations before or after you?
Oh, yes. I do want to bring up that a lot of the times when we hear stories of our parents or our grandparents' struggles growing up, we hear the exaggerated versions, of course, like where they would walk across mountains, walk across rivers, swim oceans just to get to school, you know. And I'm not saying that they haven't gone through that, but they did have their own hardships in life, hardships that are vastly different from what our generation now is experiencing. And I do want to note that despite the hardships that all generations have, it doesn't make our hardships any less difficult or trialsome as the others. Our struggles are just as heavy, and their struggles that our mighty God has given us has helped us to get out of as well in order to make our faith stronger. And with that, the older generation has one thing above what the younger generation doesn't have right now is experience, because the younger generation, we're still going through it. And what I do admire from the older generation is their resilience. They would not have gotten their experience without the resilience that they've had in their life right now. And, you know, on top of the resilience that they've had, it's so aligned with what we're taught in the Church of Christ, that no matter what generation, we always have the same values, we have the same teachings, and it's withstood for over 100 years. And that's already so amazing. And that's something we need to really listen to whenever the older generation tells stories of how they were able to overcome their hardship with the help of God. And that's biblical as well. That I'm sure, Ali, you've already experienced the many milestones that the church has reached, even in Europe. that we should share our stories, share our hardships, and how we overcame them with God's help to the younger generations and even to our friends as well. It's biblical that we should always share these stories so that they in turn can be inspired by them. And I don't know if you have any stories, Ali, if you have any stories you want to share about how God has helped you in your life so that we can inspire any of our listeners and viewers.
Yes, but before I do, I actually have an inspiring comment from Sister Kenjin Libunao. She
Yay!
commented, "What I admire most with the generation before us is their unwavering faith and consistency on putting into action words of God, which my grandparents passed to my parents and with me. Hashtag Berlin, hashtag Meissen." And I actually want to agree on that because, um, like you mentioned earlier, Chanel is for 100 years or for a long time. The Christian values and our doctrines, they haven't changed. They're still the same. And everything that has been implemented or that has been done back then is what we are doing as well now. But the experiences that we have are different and the trials that we have are also different, but that doesn't take away from the hardships or like the feeling that we have, no, because everything that we are going through doesn't make it less hard because it's not the same as the thing that our parents or our grandparents went through, and that, as you have mentioned earlier. um, so yes, I admire also the resilience of life of the older generation, is because that also shows us that nothing is impossible with our Almighty God, and with a lot of prayer and faith, as our sister Kenjin also mentioned in her comment, nothing is impossible with our Almighty God. And I have another comment from Brother Scott and Sister Lisette Augustine. Our mothers and fathers who came to Germany in the 1970s are such strong people, and I just admired that the resilience and their strong faith that made them never give up. And oh, this one is a German comment. It's from Brother Gerd Luhmann. Respekt muss immer von beiden Seiten kommen, egal wie der Altersunterschied ist. Und genau das sollte schon immer innerhalb der Familie gelehrt werden, besonders als INC-Member. Gerd, hashtag Berlin, hashtag Meissen. And to just translate it for those who do not understand and speak German, Brother Gerd mentioned that respect comes from both sides. It's not only one-sided. It doesn't matter the differences in our age, whether it be young or old. That is a value that should be taught already inside the family, because that's also we are being taught inside the Church of Christ as members of the Church of Christ. Now let's shift the conversation a little bit to another direction. I want to talk about traditions or habits that we have. Chanel, are there any traditions or habits that have been passed down to your family that you are still practicing today?
I think now with our time, it's with my family, it's so hard to get us together because of our busy schedules. So we've made a new tradition for ourselves, and that's on Sundays. Sundays, we usually attend a worship service. However, as a family, we're also busy running around, fulfilling our duties. So we hardly see each other that day, but it's not until after where we're able to reconnect and just eat out and have lunch together and just enjoy each other's time. And that's one thing that we always try to do together, just make sure that we eat and kind of check on each other, see how we're doing. And it's one of my favorite traditions, and I hope to carry it on now that I have my own family out here in Germany as well. And how about you, Ali? Do you have any traditions that you have with your family?
Yes, we do actually. And that is the prayer or the time before we go to bed. My grandparents have already done it, and now my parents are doing it with us. And that is the prayer, or the time that we spend before we say goodnight for and go to bed. Because especially in my family, we have so different schedules. I leave early for work, and then I come home, and my dad works long hours at the office as well. And my brother, of course, he goes to school, and he has his homeworks when he goes home, and he has to go to sleep early. So we don't really have the time, or because of the difference of our time schedule, we can't sit down properly to have our family meals during the week. Of course, we do on the weekends, especially on Sunday mornings, where we are running at home. But during the week, when it's, of course, when we have work, school, or even meetings, um, we try to connect with each other through the talk that we have before we pray. It's like family hour, but not really as long as an hour. But to just ask during that time, we just ask how our day went, if everything is going well, or if something bothered us today, or something even made us really happy that day. And that's all before we have our prayer. And that is a tradition, or even a habit now, that we always do before we go to bed. Of course, eating out on the weekends. Um, yes. I have a comment here as well from Joey Malnegro. Said or they said there are creative and strong personality, even though many temptation around us, but still keep the faith strong, because maybe the new technology, the likes of video conferencing, #Berlin, #Mysen, and that connects to what we have mentioned earlier, that with modern technology, it is so much easier to stay connected, especially with family who live far away. For example, with you, Chanel, most of your family, they live in America, and now you live in Germany. With that, especially with the new with technology, it's so much easier to stay in contact with them, which is also important to keep a healthy relationship. Um, on that, I want to ask you, Chanel, how can we build stronger connections between youth and elders in our communities?
Oh, like you said, technology is such a huge help. You can do video calls, you can even send text messages to one another as well. Those are the biggest things. I think for me, as someone who does better one-on-one or in-person activities, is really participate and take advantage of the many activities that the church has. It's truly so fun. There's many family friendly activities, even field trips that we can do with one another just to connect. Especially if or especially now that I'm living here, I can see that life is so different out here. The brethren are more far apart, so it's not very often that we're able to see each other like this. So all the more we should push ourselves to make time for the activities that they have. Like recently, I participated in a CFO family picnic, and it was just so wholesome. It was so nice to meet and connect with brethren in different local congregations as well. And what the biggest activity recently was the Songs of Salvation activity that they've had to celebrate all the years here in Germany, which was so blessed, and it was so fun. It was such a big activity, actually. And I know I was able to see you in person there, Ali, as well. So that's one way I was able to happily connect with um, brethren in my generation. But I also had the opportunity to sing with my locale in Frankfurt, and I really felt like I built stronger bonds with the generations before me and the younger generations as well. So it was really like a three in one. I connect with everybody, with family and friends, and it's an activity that I definitely won't forget, especially since it's my first big activity here in Germany. So, how about you, Ali? How was your experience during the Songs of Salvation? I know you're running around, but it looked like you had a lot of fun.
Yes, I was running around a lot, but nonetheless, I still, because I was one of the medias, so I was capturing all the brethren or reactions of the brethren, and that made me feel so connected to everyone. Even though I wasn't really able to speak to them in that moment, because especially the songs of salvation, everyone did a very, very great job. And all the songs and hymns that they sung are very, very inspiring. And it just sounded very, very beautiful. So the reaction, I had the same reactions as most of the brethren. Of course, I was very amazed. I was very happy to be there or to be part of that big celebration. And I felt so connected with them because we are all in the same boat in a way. We all are celebrating the 25th anniversary. So in a way, that had such a huge impact on me because we are all celebrating the same thing, even though we are from different generations, but we are there just for one reason. And before we continue, I see that the comment section is very, very active. And of course, I want to greet everyone. I want to greet Sister Zdenka Edik. Hello, po, Sister Anne. From Geraldine, hashtag Zurich Aster. Another comment from Luz Lumawan. Greetings po to all viewers Zurich, hashtag Zurich South, hashtag Zankalan, hashtag Bern, hashtag Luzern, hashtag Freiburg. And another comment from Mary Ann Schildknecht. Hello po, ka Zdenka Edik and Libby Geraldine, hashtag Zurich South. Another comment from Sharon Tenueco. Warm greetings po to ka Joji and Sister Manego, hashtag Berlin, hashtag Meissen. Another comment from Sister Linda Calvelo. Warm hello at Marjorie Bakian, hashtag Berlin, hashtag Meissen. And another comment from Juan Paulo Angana. Happy viewing, hashtag Zagreb, hashtag Patsin. Thank you so much for tuning in all the way from the district of Northern Europe. Another comment from Raisha. Hello po, brother Georgie and family. Hashtag Blin, hashtag Meissen. So thank you so much for all those comments. Make sure to keep the comments going because before we continue, we'll first take a question break. We will be right back here on INCRadio.
This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
It doesn't take something big to show love. The right and thoughtful choices made with care can make a parent smile and turn an ordinary day into something special.
dishes done, floors clean, a surprise mom and dad when they get here.
Wow! Hello, son.
Mom, you're early.
The house looks great.
Plus, I'm done with my assignments.
Oh, really? Oh. You always do your chores without being told. We see your effort, Carl, and we're proud of you. Here, we got you something.
What? How'd you know I want this? Thank you.
A child who brings joy to their parents is blessed even without asking. In the same way, when we live to please God, He gives us more than we could ever hope for. A reminder from Made in Australia, brought to you by INCRadio Australia Satellite Studio.
Hello and welcome back to INC Radio Central Europe Satellite Studio. It is currently 8:40 p.m. here in Germany, and in the first part of our conversation earlier, we spoke about the differences of our generational understandings and how these have had an impact on us. But before we continue with that, together with Miss Malu, we will learn new German words and phrases in our segment German is fun, Deutsch macht Spaß. So lean back and relax, and most importantly, have fun. Viel Spaß!
German is fun. Deutsch macht Spaß.
Hallo everyone, welcome to German is fun. Hallo zusammen, willkommen zu Deutsch macht Spaß. Mein Name ist Marilu Francisco to bring you a fun session of basic German. All you have to do is listen, repeat after me, and have fun. So let's begin.
German is fun. Deutsch macht Spaß.
Our topic for today, the neighboring countries of Germany. Auf Deutsch, die Nachbarländer von Deutschland. Die Nachbarländer von Deutschland. If ever you'll have the chance to go to Germany, it's good to know which country or which countries are near your destination in Germany, so that you can travel from Germany to another country or to other countries. So, let's get to know the neighboring countries of Germany.
German is fun. Deutsch macht Spaß.
How many neighboring countries does Germany have? Can you guess? You're right. 9 countries. 9 countries. Deutschland hat 9 Nachbarländer. 9 is for 9. In the north, im Norden, Denmark, Denmark. In the north, Germany borders on Denmark. Im Norden grenzt Deutschland an Dänemark. In the south, im Süden, Austria, Österreich. In the south, im Süden, Switzerland, die Schweiz. In the east, im Osten, Poland, Czech Republic, Tschechische Republik. Once again, Tschechische Republik. In the east, Germany borders on the Czech Republic. Im Osten grenzt Deutschland an die Tschechische Republik. In the west, im Westen, Netherlands, Niederlande, Belgium, Belgium, Luxembourg, Luxembourg, France, Frankreich. Im Westen grenzt Deutschland an Niederlande, Belgien, Luxemburg und Frankreich.
German is fun. Deutsch macht Spaß.
Here again are the words and phrases we learned today. Die Nachbarländer, the neighboring countries. Von Deutschland, of Germany. Im Norden, in the north. Im Süden, in the south. Im Osten, in the east. Im Westen, in the west. And here again are the neighboring countries of Germany in German. Dänemark, Polen, Tschechische Republik, Österreich, Schweiz, Luxemburg, Niederlande, Frankreich.
German is fun. Deutsch macht Spaß.
This has been today's German is Fun, Deutsch macht Spaß. Thank you for joining me. Danke, dass ihr dabei wart. Till next time, bis zum nächsten Mal. Here is Malu Francisco. Tschüss!
German is fun. Deutsch macht Spaß.
Vielen, vielen Dank, Frau Malou, for teaching us new words and phrases in German oder auf Deutsch. And to our dear viewers and listeners, if you are interested in learning more German vocabulary, you can search on YouTube, INCRadio DZEM, German is Fun, and there you can rewatch all the German is Fun episodes. Now, as we have mentioned earlier, our district, Central Europe, has celebrated the 25th anniversary of our district, and in connection with this, we held a SOS, or Songs of Salvation competition, and we want to show you this activity as well. Kuyutek. Yes, as you can see here, in this activity, the brethren showcase not only their efforts in preparing for this event, but also showcase their talents and beautiful voices in the Songs of Salvation. Brethren were also able to meet each other again and see familiar faces, but also greet each other and come together for this milestone in our district. And we want to use this opportunity as well to congratulate all the winners once again from our SOS. And we are, of course, are looking forward to the next upcoming activities. And with this, we also want to read more comments. I have here one from Luz Lumawan. Congratulations po to all performers and winners of SOS. Love you all po, Zurich. Hashtag Zurich South, hashtag St. Gallen, hashtag Berlin, hashtag Luzern, hashtag Freiburg. And another comment from Linda Calvelo. Thank you to all the SOS organizers. Hashtag Berlin, hashtag Meissen. And another comment from Sister Linda Calvelo. Thank you, Frankfurt, for hosting the SOS. Hashtag Berlin, hashtag Meissen. And another one from Joji Malnegro. We enjoyed the SOS. Hope more district activity comes. Hashtag Berlin, hashtag Meissen. And another comment from Ina Reynoso. Congratulations po to all winners. Hashtag Bonn, hashtag Luxembourg, hashtag Amsterdam, hashtag Almere. Yes, indeed, that day has been very, very filled with so much blessings, and it was really, really fun. Once again, congratulations to all winners. But now is the time most of us have been waiting for, and we have to find out which clusters were the most active in the YouTube live chat last week. So let's find out who are the top 3 clusters. Cleotech?
Third place, Bonn and Luxembourg cluster. Second place, Frankfurt cluster. First place, Berlin cluster.
Congratulations, or another round of congratulations to all of our winners for last week's challenge. Continue sharing your comments in the YouTube live chat with the hashtag of your cluster for you to have the chance to win this week's cluster challenge. Now, before we end, I want to ask one last question about our topic to Chanel. Can you share a moment when connecting across generations made a significant difference in your life?
I do want to bring up the Songs of Salvation competition, especially because it's so recent. And I want to shout out all the brethren and families that I've met during that day, and even to the local of Frankfurt. And the brethren I was able to practice and participate with, connecting with the younger generation, and also having new big brother and big sister figures within the locale, and creating stronger bonds with one another. It really made a difference, especially being new here, and I'm truly so grateful. It makes me so hopeful for my new life here in Germany, and to them I'm so grateful because my faith is all the more strengthened, and I'm just very happy overall to create new bonds of friendship with them, and I can't wait for many more activities together, and many more opportunities to probably compete with one another again, whether it be Unity games or another Songs of Salvation. I truly can't wait. So shout out to our local Frankfurt and Frankfurt cluster as well.
Yes, on that note, it's shout out time. Who do you want to shout out, Chanel?
I do want to shout out to Brother Orly and Ate Crystal and their family for tuning in. Already they were asking me today, will you be joining radio? So they have logged on, they have commented. So thank you so much. And again, shout out to Frankfurt Cluster for an amazing experience and for doing so wonderful on our performance for the Songs of Salvation, as well as all of the performers that flew or drove all the way down to Frankfurt to celebrate with us. Thank you, everyone. We're truly so grateful, and I can't wait for more district activities together. How about you, Ali? Do you have any shout outs?
Yes, I want to shout out everyone in the comment section. Sister Annalyn Liban, thank you so much for your many comments. Sister Linda Calvelo, from Sam Laureta, congratulations po to all winners. Hashtag Amsterdam, Netherlands. Another comment from Janet Laureta. Congratulations po to all winners and performers of the recently concluded SOS in CEU. Hashtag Amsterdam. And another comment from Mary Ann Schildknecht. Greetings po to all brethren in Zurich cluster. Hashtag Zurich South. Another comment from Luz Lumawan. Special thanks to Sister Desiree of Zurich. Grabe ang galing mag-drive. Truly grateful sa'yo, sister. Tagumpay. Hashtag Zurich. Another comment from Brother Gerd Luman. There was a very nice SOS, and always nice to see all brothers and sisters again po. Another comment from Raisa Hamoner. I'm looking forward to the next SOS. And another comment from Sister Annalyn Liman. It was nice experience po SOS in Frankfurt. We're all winners po because we're always united po. Hashtag Berlin, hashtag Meissen. Thank you so much for the many, many comments. And of course, thank you so much, Chanel, for joining us tonight. Shout out to everyone, to all our viewers and listeners for watching tonight's broadcast. We also want to thank our District CFO Advisor, Brother Scott Agustin. Thank you to our Assistant District Minister, Brother Jake Edick. And thank you to our District Minister, Brother Joel B. Catalan. We also want to thank our INC Media Productions Chief, Brother Montreville Boy, and our INC Radio Station Manager, Brother Wally Taray. Thank you also to our to our Deputy Executive Minister, Brother Angelo Malalo, and most importantly, thank you to the church administration and our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Once again, we thank you for watching INC Radio Central Europe tonight. See you next time.